What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 5, I think.
I fixed the audio! Yeah!
Episode 5 of the Shrimp Cocktail Sports Podcast. We attempted to record last night, but there were audio issues. Shrimp fixed them, attaboy. I'm here with my co-hosts, Shrimp and Andy. Guys, how we doing?
Well, I'm a little bit petrified. I had a little bit of a rough week with a lot of wild animals near my house. So about a week ago, a bird flew into my house. That was about a 45-minute ordeal to get it out of my house.
Yeah, I that's like the snakes are the one thing I'm legitimately scared of. And I'm looking at this picture that you sent in our group chat. I would have burned the house down.
Yeah, sure. I was pretty close. The matches were in my hand.
Like there was a snake like that. I was going in my car, going like 60, and I saw it. I'm like, oh, I'm hitting this thing, and I hit it, and it rolled after I hit it, and it slithered away. It was somehow alive after I hit it with a moving vehicle going 60 miles an hour.
They're relentless. Like I threw a football at this thing's head, and it just pretended to act dead for a little while, and then it started slithering some more.
No, I would legitimately shoot. If there was one on my back patio like that, I would shoot it legitimately. I hate those things. Anyway, guys, how we doing? Shrimp, how we doing, buddy?
I want you to call me Stevie Wonder because of my way to work with the audio.
Okay, so yes, we had audio issues yesterday when we sat down to record. Shrimp fixed them. Hopefully this sounds good. Yeah, so Shrimp's feeling good.
It's the MVP.
Shrimp is the MVP. I'm feeling good. Before we started recording, was playing a little NCAA 14 football. Remember that game, guys, for the 360?
Yeah. Who was that? Was that Bernard Robinson on the cover?
Yeah. Yep. I demolished my friend Keith from school, 60-30. I was playing as Miami, smoked him, put up a 60 burger. He's gonna love that I told that story on the podcast because I just demolished him.
Terrible. That was the story you were so excited to tell?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's just end the podcast.
What?
Oh, Shrimp, you're no fun. You're the video game guy too. Oh God, my phone's ringing. Hang on. It's Nick. I gotta answer this, Shrimp.
Okay. Put yourself on mute. I'm carrying the podcast. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, put yourself on mute.
I'm recording the podcast right now.
This is my podcast now.
I kicked him from the group. This podcast is going swimmingly so far. It is 7:53. We're 3 minutes in, and we haven't gotten past the intros. I don't know what the notes are, but I think Jake is going to talk about the NHL. I kicked him out of the whole Discord. I gotta add him back. Okay.
You're wild.
We are not editing any of this out. Okay, here he comes. Okay.
You're wild.
Jake, I will turn it over to you.
All right. I don't know what I missed there. I had an important call. We'll say it was work related. We'll go with work related. Guys, what'd you talk about during that brief intermission?
You don't want to know. Just carry on.
Okay, I'm going to have a great surprise when I listen to this. Guys, we actually have a big week in sports with actual live sports. The biggest one to me, and I'm so happy, it didn't feel real until I saw the Stanley Cup playoff intro on Sportsnet. Hockey's back. It's so nice. I'm so happy.
Definitely a very exciting thing. NHL playoffs, most exciting out of the four major sports.
It's the most exciting postseason other than the NCAA tournament, I would say.
But, we kind of get the best of both worlds now with that because the way the NHL is set up, games start at 12 o'clock and they're going on all night on tomorrow.
I took Monday off from work to watch the Rangers play at noon.
They're playing at noon again? Huh. How early is that in Canada?
Well, they're in Toronto, so it's Eastern time zone. So Edmonton, I think, is it's 2 hours behind. It might be 3. I'm not sure.
Central time?
I
don't even know. I mean, I'm not a geography major.
I think it's 2. It's 2. 2 hours behind. I googled it. We're good. It is 2 hours behind. Anyway, so we'll just do. We're gonna start with the play-in series. We'll go series by series. Go talk about it a little bit. give our predictions. We won't touch on the round robin yet. We'll talk about the top 4 seeds once the first round is set. Just to recap, the hubs for the West are in Edmonton. The East is in Toronto. And guys, did you see the testing results by the NHL for Phase 3?
Yeah, it was 0.
4,256 tests done on over 800 players. None were positive. And that was when they were in their home cities training. Awesome job by the NHL.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Gary Bettman, of all people, got this together.
He jumped up to the second best commissioner in pro sports in the last 3 weeks. It's insane.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch any of the exhibition games?
I did not.
I don't even know what sport we're talking about.
Yeah, Shrimp is a Sharks fan, and I'm going to use fan very lightly. He's not a big hockey guy.
I'm not a big sports guy. I don't know what I'm doing here. I got lost.
I saw the setup of the ice. What did it have? 4 monitors up there?
It's got, so they roped off the lower bowl. They covered the seats. They put in a bunch of new video boards. It looks really cool. The side, the between the benches guy, the sideline reporter is literally in a cube. Those things you get in when you buy authentic baseballs for autographs.
Yeah,
he's in one of those. It's hysterical. It's so amazing. But
Pierre Maguire is going to be very comfortable.
It wasn't even Pierre. I don't even know if he's up there, to be totally honest. I would be okay if he wasn't, though.
Oh, I love Pierre.
Dude, he's so annoying. I'm sorry.
It's so much, but he's so annoying. It's fun.
Doc Emmerich is he's the best play-by-play guy in sports, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's not even up for debate.
But having Pierre is just ugh. He's an exceptional hockey mind. He was a good coach. He knows what he's talking about. He's just a little annoying when he's on the sideline. All right. Anyway, we're going to get into a little bit of a series preview. The exhibition games, before actually I'm going to cut myself off, they all looked pretty good. A lot of the teams looked really quick and ready to go. The only game that kind of looked like it was a legit exhibition was the Penguins and Flyers. Those guys were kind of slow, but all the other ones seemed like guys were ready to go. So we'll start, guys. Let's start with our series previews. Andy, we're going to start with your team, the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're playing the Montreal Canadiens. Best of 5. What are your thoughts?
Penguins in 3.
Penguins. I would agree. The Habs sold at the deadline. They were 10 points out of the playoffs. They kind of got in by default. Their offense isn't very good. It's very a lackluster attack. They have one guy with more than 50 points. The Pens have everybody healthy. Jake Getzel's back.
Pittsburgh healthy, very, very scary team. This is still pretty much the team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Right, and they really very well could do it again because it's going to be hard to predict. Really, there's a ton of teams that can really win the cup. The NHL playoffs.
You obviously know upsets happen all the time.
Absolutely. I could see one of the 11, 10, 9 seeds going on a deep run in one of the conferences. It's just that it's that deep. The biggest question for me in that Penguin series is who's going to start in goal. Is it going to be Matt Murray, who had a sub 900 save percentage, or it should be Tristan Jarry, right? He was an all-star.
I would assume so, to be honest.
I agree. They might start Murray because he's got the 2 cups and he's got the experience to start against the Habs. I think if they want to go deep, they're going to have to start Tristan Jarry.
I think if they do go over, it will be like a kind of a 1-game tryout,
right?
Or even a 1-period tryout. I don't even.
If the Habs want to have a shot, it's going to be on Carey Price. I've seen a lot of stuff that says can Price carry the Habs to a cup? No, he can't.
No, what was the last time the Canadiens were even good when the Rangers played them? And what was that, the Eastern Conference Finals?
The Rangers and the Habs played in 2017, 16 in the playoffs, and we beat them in 6.
Yeah.
He's not the Carey Price that won the Vezina and the Hart in 2015. He's just not. He had a 909 save percentage this year. He was allowing almost 3 goals a game. He's not carrying. Carey Price is not carrying the Habs to a cup. Could he carry them to an upset over the Penguins? Maybe. I don't see it happening. I see the Habs steal one. I'm gonna say Penguins in 4.
That's fair.
So, Shrimp, who do you have? You have the Penguins. Can the Habs pull an upset?
Penguins.
Penguins. All right. So we're all on the same page there. The next one is we'll jump to the Carolina Hurricanes against my favorite team, the New York Rangers. The Rangers swept the Hurricanes in the regular season 4-0 and outscored them 17-9. Had superb goaltending the entire time, though. Andy, would you have any thoughts on this series?
I'm saying the Rangers in 5.
I'm also going to say the Rangers in 5 as well. I think with Panarin, who should win the Hart, he's the MVP. Come at me. I don't care. There's nobody more valuable to their team than Artemi Panarin. The Rangers are a dumpster fire. If he's not on this, I shouldn't say dumpster fire. They'd be better, but they wouldn't be as good as they were without Artemi Panarin because Mika Zibanejad was still like unbelievable, leading the league in goals per game, 41. Chris Kreider's healthy. He broke his foot. Lindy Ruff leaving the Rangers to coach the Devils, I think, is huge because he was in charge. He was our assistant coach. He was in charge of the defense, and the Rangers' defense was awful. They're one of the worst possession teams in the league. But in the exhibition game against the Islanders, we ended up losing 2-1. Defense actually looks pretty good. Jacob Trouba looked awesome. And he and Brendan Smith shut down the Habs top line with the Habs. Jesus, I'm still on the Penguin series. Shut down the Isles top line. He did a really – they looked better. I know it was one exhibition game, but Trouba and the defense looked a lot better. I might be a homer, but I'm very high. I think the Rangers can beat the Hurricanes, and I think they will in 5.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
On the Hurricanes side, it's unlikely that Dougie Hamilton plays. I think Brett Pesce might be in, but Brady Shea and Sami Vatanen are going to have to step up their roles. Brady Shea was acquired actually from the Rangers at the deadline because they needed to clear up some cap space after they re-extended Kreider. He was not great. He was okay this year. But offensively, Carolina is pretty deep with Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, and Teuvo Teravainen as their top line. They also added Vinny Trocheck. So the Habs they're going to – oh, my God. Still saying the Habs. The Hurricanes –
it's the stupid H.
I know. It is the H. It's the Hurricanes are going to be able to score. But so it's going to depend on the Rangers' defense and who's playing goalie. I think it's going to be Igor Shesterkin. He was just a better goalie. He was better than Lundqvist all year.
I honestly, I want it to be Henry. I still love Henry.
I do too, but do you really want, in what might be his last go around, which it really could be his last time in a Ranger jersey, do you want to just throw Hank in there because it could be his last time and that's the right thing to do? Or do you want to try and get the young kid in who's going to be there for the next 10 or 15 years to try and get some playoff experience? And
I think I'm still going to say Henry just because of the rest right now in the experience.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I just think Igor was the better goalie, and you try to win. You gotta play what's gonna get you W's, and that's
Well, what was who was the goalie in the sweep of the Hurricanes last year? Was it all
3 of them? They all played.
Oh, really?
Historically, Hank's been really, really good against the Hurricanes. I heard a stat during the Islander game that the Rangers had won something ridiculous, like, oh, I hope this is right, 31 of their last 37 against the Hurricanes or something like that. But again, that doesn't mean anything going into these playoffs. It's so different.
Yeah, that's fair.
But so we're both in agreement. We both say Rangers in 5 in that one. Could easily see it going to the Hurricanes in 5, but I think either way, that's going the distance. That series will be really close. Moving on, the next Eastern Conference series is the Islanders and the Panthers. Islanders swept the Panthers but had a shootout win in the regular season. The Islanders' offense is not great. They play a really smothering kind of defensive style. That's how they beat the Penguins last year. They have nobody who's a point-per-game player. Brock Nelson's the only 30-goal scorer. But they do have really solid goaltending, which they never get, plus John Gabriel Pajot. And the Panthers, to me, their defense is just so young. I know they're deep on offense, but I just think the Islanders are going to do enough to win this series. I'm going to say Isles in 4.
I like Islanders in 4 too. But what I think I like most about the Islanders is how well they play together as a team. Like the always surefire players, Brock Nelson. It just feels like they mesh very well together.
They do. They buy into the Trotz system really well. They play together. They're a very good cohesive unit. I don't know if the Islanders are going to get past the second round, but I think they'll get past the Panthers, especially with Bobrovsky, who's struggled all year. Unless if he turns it on, I think the Islanders might be in trouble. I can't see it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
not. So we both say Islanders. You said Islanders in 4?
Yeah. But you know what? I'm going to change that to Islanders in 3. We're going to give them the sweep.
You going sweep? Okay, so you got 2 sweeps. Wow. So our next series might be, to me, this is the most interesting series in the playoffs, I think, is the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Columbus Blue Jackets. They tied the regular season series, and the Jackets were pretty banged up, but they're getting everybody back. Seth Jones, their all-star defenseman, is back. Cam Atkinson is back. The Jackets are going to need to score a ton, though. The Leafs are built on offense. They have, the guys they have, Andy Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, all those guys. They're going to score. But the Leafs defense in goaltending has been subpar all year. The Leafs allowed the 6th most goals in the NHL this season. I think this one's going 5. I really do.
I feel like the Leafs in 4.
Okay. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to take the Jackets in 5. I think Columbus knocks off the Leafs.
Honestly, it's just on John Tortorella.
Torts, he should win Coach of the Year. He's done such a good job. If they lost Panarin, they lost their JD, both to the Rangers. They lost Matt Duchene went to the Preds. They lost so much and still got him here. And I think they're going to do enough to win this series, even though the Leafs have Muzzin and Mikheyev back. I think the Leafs defense is not good enough to compete in this series. And even if the Leafs do win this series, they're not getting past the Bruins or the Lightning. No way. I don't think they're good enough. Defensively, that is. Offensively, right.
Yeah. Last year, did the Bruins did they sweep the Leafs last year?
No, it went 7.
It went 7.
The Leafs have lost three game 7 series to the Bruins since 2013. They lost back-to-back to the Bruins in 7. So, that Shrimp, do you have a pick for the Leafs and the Blue Jackets? You've been quiet.
Type of quiet because I don't know hockey. Blue Jackets in 5.
What do you think, though? What do you think? Islanders?
What's the other
Panthers?
Team? Carolina Panthers.
That's okay. Not the Carolina Panthers, the Florida Panthers.
Oh, you got the South part right.
You did get the South part right.
Same difference.
So that's the East. The top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference are Boston, Tampa, Washington, and Philly. We'll talk about those teams once the first round matchups for the playoffs are set, just because it would take up too much time. We'll go to the West. This, I think, an interesting series is Edmonton and Chicago. The Blackhawks are kind of starting to rebuild with their core getting older. And the Oilers are obviously very good. They have Leon Draisaitl, who might be the favorite for the MVP, even though I still think Panarin should win it. And the best player in the world is Connor McJesus, Andy.
Oh my God. I love Connor David.
He's so good. I can't, even if it was just him, I don't think the Blackhawks have a shot in this series. I think the Oilers are going to sweep them. I think it's going to be 3-0.
Yeah, that's fair. But we also kind of don't want the Blackhawks to get 1 overall.
Oh my God. No, I'll tell you what's going to happen. The Blackhawks, if they lose, will get it. But my nightmare scenario is if the Habs somehow upset the Penguins and the Penguins get it, and Alexi Lafreniere is playing with Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. I will lose my mind. I will be off the wall. We should do a live broadcast when they do the first overall pick. But they also have Nugent Hopkins for the Oilers having his best point per game in his career with 61. James Neal had a great renaissance year. He went from 19 points to 31. He had 19 goals, so he would have had 20 if it was a full season. And the Hawks give up 35 shots a game, and Corey Crawford's coming off having coronavirus. I can't see it. I really don't.
Oh.
So I'm gonna say that's this. I think the Oilers are gonna sweep the Blackhawks, and it will not be close.
Agreed.
Shrimp, you got to pick.
Blackhawks are winning.
Whoa.
Okay. Could you imagine the Blackhawks do win and then the Oilers get the first overall pick?
I still wouldn't mind that. David.
They'd be good.
It'd be
They'd
so
be
much fun for the next 20 years.
I know. Our next series is the 6-seeded Nashville Predators against the 11-seeded Arizona Coyotes. I actually saw the Preds play when I went to Nashville, and they looked awful offensively. They didn't do anything.
Sad.
They looked terrible when I went, and I went the day before the Super Bowl. That was like right before the season stopped. They looked bad, but they did fire Peter Laviolette, and they have struggled with their new head coach John Hines, who is the coach of the Devils, who were also bad. The Preds do boast one of the deepest D-cores in the league with Roman Josi, who's due for a massive payday. Ryan Ellis, Ekholm, and Dante Fabro. Philip Forsberg's the leading scorer with 12 goals. Matt Duchene has struggled. He set his third lowest points per game total in his NHL career. But then the Coyotes, I feel like they're kind of just there. Like, they're okay. They're not great. They're not bad. They're just there.
That's fair.
If the Coyotes are going to win, I think they're going to need a big series from Taylor Hall, who's been kind of quiet, and their goalie. Whoever plays, either Ronta or Kemper, and I think it should be Kempner, need to be big. I'm
just hoping that Taylor Hall kind of used this time to figure out the system more. That's kind of what I'm going to pin that on.
Did any player get screwed more than Taylor Hall this year going into free agency?
Oh my God. Well, you got screwed winding up in New Jersey to begin with.
Yeah. But hold on. I want to talk about him in New Jersey. If he won the MVP the year he did in New Jersey, Panarin 100% should win the MVP this year. It's basically this. It's the very, very similar story. If the season had gone full and the Rangers had made the playoffs organically, he'd be a lock. It's just the fact that it ended early.
Just give it to Panarin Bread right now.
It should be Panarin for sure. I'd be okay if it went to McKinnon. It should not be Draisaitl. I don't care about the 120 points, whatever he had. He plays with Connor McDavid. He's not even the best player on his team, let alone the NHL.
Yeah, no, that's just the best sidekick award.
Yes, exactly, 100%. If it was really for the best player, Connor McDavid would win every year.
Absolutely.
No way. Oh. So that's my MVP rant. I'd be okay if it went to McKinnon because you take McKinnon away from the Avs. I mean, the Avs are probably still good, but they're not like Stanley Cup contending good. So I think it should go to Panarin. It really should, and I don't care if it makes it sound like a homer. I'm going to go Preds in 5 in this series, though. I think it goes the distance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Preds in 5.
Preds in 5. Shrimp, what do you got?
I got Preds in 5.
Preds in 5 across the board. Our next series is an interesting one. We have the Vancouver Canucks, who were I saw them play at the Garden, and they were really good this year. But they're playing the Minnesota Wild, who the Wild actually won the season series 2-1. The Canucks have gotten a career year from JT Miller, former Ranger, 72 points in 69 games. Tyler Toffoli, they got at the deadline, and Tanner Pearson have been fantastic. They also have Elias Pettersson, bona fide superstar in the league, Brock Besser, Bo Horvat, Adam Gaudette, Northeastern, and Jake Virtanen. They have a really young and really deep line, but actually very similar to the Rangers. I think right now, though, they're a step ahead of the Rangers, maybe. And they also have Quinn Hughes, the rookie sensation, who's probably going to be second in the voting to Cale Makar.
I agree.
Quinn had 53 points in 58 games as a defenseman, averaged 22 minutes of ice time, he had a ton of power play time. The only issue with Vancouver is their defense. They allowed over 30 shots a game, and they were bottom 10 in Corsi, which is a possession stat. So that kind of concerns me on the Canucks making a deep postseason run, which I think they can do. They're also getting Jakob Markstrom back, who was a legitimate Vezina candidate before he got hurt in net. They went from 5th to 8th in the West without him. So if he's on, I think Vancouver can make a deep run. I'm going to pick them to win this series in 4. I love Matt Zuccarello. He's my favorite player ever, playing for the Wild. Even with Kevin Fiala having a great year, I think the Canucks are a sleeper team to make a run to the conference final, if not further.
I'm going Wild in 5.
Really? Wow. Okay. Okay. You're big on
I've been a Parise guy for a while now.
You think the veterans, Parise, Eric Staal, Zook, those guys are gonna drag them to a victory?
I do.
Okay. This is probably the biggest difference we've had in this series. Shrimp, who do you have?
Canucks in 4.
Okay. What did I say? Canucks in 4?
Yeah.
Canucks in 4. I think the Canucks can make a deep run. One more thing about this series is the goaltending for Minnesota has been not very good. They've had a combined Alex Stalock and Devin Dubnyk have had a combined save percentage of 90%, which is not very good. The last first round series is the Calgary Flames Winnipeg Jets. They only played once in the regular season. It was won by the Jets. The top line for Calgary pretty much carries them with Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, and Lindholm. But they dropped in productivity this year. Connor Hellebuck in goal for the Jets carries them after losing basically everybody on their defense. And they're going to need Patrick Laine to step up. Andy, thoughts on this series? Who do you got?
Flames in 4.
Flames in 4. I'm going to say Jets in 5 because I think Connor Hellebuck's going to do enough to carry them. This is probably like the least interesting series, I guess.
I think it's a little more interesting just because these two teams haven't been relevant, maybe ever.
Well, the Jets had the one year when they went to the conference final when they lost to Vegas. And then, they came from Atlanta. They were terrible when they were the Thrashers. Yeah, Calgary hasn't been good. Hasn't been great. They had the one year where they went to the final in 2004.
You gotta like two Canadian teams playing against each other in Canada.
I'm so sad that we didn't get a Battle of Alberta in the in a normal playoff. They would have killed each other in a first round series. It's sad, but that's the West. The top 4 seeds in the Western Conference are St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas. We won't make our Stanley Cup final predictions. We'll wait till the first round gets set. That sound good, Andy?
Absolutely.
All right, so that is pretty much our entire playoff preview. We do have one more piece of hockey news. We have a new team. Seattle announced their new name. It is the Seattle Kraken. Awesome logo, awesome jerseys. They will begin playing 2021-2022. They will be in the Pacific Division. Arizona will move to the Central. Andy, thoughts on the name, thoughts on the jerseys?
I absolutely love this. This is fantastic. Fantastic name. Oh, my God.
The jerseys were so clean. They were awesome.
Like, honestly, it's just when they actually play and when they score, I can just picture it now. Just all the noises, just release the Kraken.
The arena is going to be called the Crack House, and the fans are the Crackheads. I love it. I thought the logo, they had a logo that was like an anchor, but it was the Space Needle, the building in Seattle. Their entire marketing team did such a good job with this team. I'm excited. I think if their expansion draft is going to be interesting too. I wonder if they're going to be able to put together a team like Vegas did.
I'm kind of wondering how much longer before the NBA returns to Seattle.
I don't know. I that might have to be another relocation. I don't know if they're going to be able to do expansion. Are there 30 teams in the NBA? 30 teams.
Yeah, I'm all right.
They could expand to 32. Seattle deserves an NBA team. They love the Sonics, and the way they left was just so.
I think if they were in Seattle this whole time, Kevin Durant might have his entire career there.
He really might have. It's very possible. Shrimp, what did you think about the Seattle Kraken?
Great team name, great promotion. Who the hell do they even have in their team? They didn't draft anybody yet, did they? Or
Nobody.
they
The
got to
expansion
pick.
draft is after next year.
Oh, okay. I like it. I don't know why there was a 32-second team, but
Got to make it even.
I guess. Well, when was Golden Knights? 2 years ago or last year?
3 years ago. This is their third season.
And they made it to the Stanley Cup their first or second season?
First.
Wow. All right. So let's see how the Kraken does.
All right, so that'll pretty much wrap up hockey. That was a really good preview, guys. We're gonna move to some
Football,
more kind of
right?
serious, disappointing kind of stuff.
Oh.
We gotta talk about the Marlins. So we got 3 games into the baseball season, 1 weekend. It was good. It was fun. Then before Sunday's game, the Marlins were in Philadelphia, and several Marlins, they found out, I think it was 3, tested positive for the virus, and they played anyway.
Absolutely ignorant on the Marlins' part, knowing they had COVID and yet still continue to play. And I don't understand. You're the Miami Marlins. You're not going to be good for maybe 20 years.
I don't understand how you have 3 positives, and yet you play anyway. It's just
the team doctors all should be fired for that one.
The whole
You
team.
should lose your medical license for that, to be honest. I mean,
the organization, the way that was handled was so poor. The next day, 10 more people tested positive, 8 players, 2 staff. The last update were 21 Marlins were tested positive. The Phillies had no player positives test, but 2 staff members, a coach and a club attendant, had the virus. The Marlins season is suspended through at least Sunday. It's probably going to be longer. The Phillies are suspended until further notice. The Orioles-Marlins series and the Yankees-Phillies series were canceled. The Yankees and Orioles played each other twice. The Yankees won them both. And now we also have news that there were positive tests in the Cardinals clubhouse. And we actually didn't talk about this on the baseball podcast, but I gave baseball, I think, 20 games before they had to shut it down. It might be less. I can't see how they
we might not even get 2 weeks out of this.
No, and it's sad. The numbers don't seem that kind of scary. It was 29 out of almost 12,000 cases, 12,000 tests, were positive, which is 0.2%. But to me, the way it spread through the Marlins, where basically the entire 25-man roster got it, it's not good. Like I don't.
It's just these outdoor sports and logistically. It's just traveling, staying in hotels, and visiting stadiums where there's potential virus.
Right.
It's just not going to work.
There's a tweet from Scott Miller who says MLB internal investigation found the Marlins were very lax following their protocols during the Atlanta trip last weekend. Players were going out, players were in the hotel bar, etc. Lots of MLB people very unhappy with Miami. How stupid do you have to be?
That's next level stupid.
And then Jeff Passan, who's ESPN's baseball guy, I love him, tweeted out that Rob Manfred told MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark on Friday that if the sport doesn't do a better job of managing coronavirus, it could shut down for the season. That was 3 hours ago. So
it's just we're 9 days into this or 8 days into this now.
It's just I understand that positive tests in baseball were probably inevitable, and I didn't think they would get through the season anyway. But the level of stupidity.
I think that's what bothers me the most is the ignorance behind it.
Yeah, it really was. It's like I don't want to throw the players into the bus, but I'm going to. It's not going to affect me, and it could take down the entire league for a season. It's just incredibly frustrating and incredibly sad.
Thanks, Miami.
Yeah, we just need to rope off Florida. Like that Bugs Bunny gif that's always around Twitter of him just cutting off Florida. That needs to happen. Shrimp, any thoughts on the Marlins?
No, they should have handled it better.
Yeah, 100%. Jumping to another coronavirus stuff. This is it was very interesting. The New England Patriots, which is my favorite team and Shrimp's favorite team, had 6 players opt out of the 2020 NFL season, including 3 starters. The 2 Brandon Bolden, actually, I guess you could have said 4 starters. Brandon Bolden was a running back and a special teamer, opted out. fullback. Well, actually 5. Danny Vitale was the starting fullback. He opted out. Center and guard Najee Torin opted out. Then we get into the big starters. Right tackle Marcus Cannon, who actually had cancer in 2011. He opted out, which creates a huge hole in the Patriots' offensive line. Patrick Chung opts out, who's their starting safety. And the biggest one is Dante Hightower, a starting linebacker, 3 Super Bowl championships. He's the quarterback of the defense. He has opted out. He just had a kid on July 16th, so I understand. But that's huge. And that's the 4th line. The Patriots have now lost 4 linebackers this offseason. 3 to free agency, which was Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, and Landon Roberts, and now Hightower. It's
tank for Trevor.
Yeah, this is all part of Belichick's master plan to get Trevor Lawrence.
I don't think that's actually the truth, but
no, it's not.
It's not in Belichick's DNA to just wait on a season.
No, Darius Butler, who I think played for the Patriots at one point, but I know he mainly played for the Colts, tweeted out like, whoever thinks Belichick's tanking is that's just so not happening.
It's dead wrong.
And then Patrick Chung retweeted his tweet and said, "No, that's just stupid. Like that's not the plan." I remember my dad said Boomer Esiason said that they all opted out because they were pissed that Brady walked or that Belichick let Brady walk. But I don't know about that. I honestly I don't think there's gonna be a season anyway, so I don't think it's gonna matter. But I think it's just like Belichick was like, "Look, it's a health thing. Do what you want."
I respect any of these guys who honestly. You might as well. You got to do what you got to do.
I'm not judging any of them at all. I totally understand. So the Patriots are going to need a lot of young guys to step up. Juwan Bentley, who actually had a good year, is the main candidate to take over Hightower's role as the defensive signal caller. Chase Winovich is going to need to take a big step up. Josh Uche and Anthony Jennings, who are both rookies, are going to need to take a huge step if there's a season. And Kyle Duggar, our top draft pick, who can play safety and linebacker, needs to take. It's asking a lot of young guys, and it makes me a little concerned about the defense, which is it makes me concerned about the defense now, which is what I thought was going to keep the Patriots in games.
Yeah, welcome to a rebuild.
Yeah, and then Matt Slater, who's been the captain, all around stud for this team forever, almost opted out, but he's going to play, and I think that saved a lot of other players who would have opted out, who might say, all right, I'm good, we're going to play. And with all this, the Patriots are still favored by Vegas to win the AFC East, if you can believe that.
That's crazy. That's
plus 110.
Crazy.
It's the Belichick effect, man.
What happens when you have the number 1 defense in the league?
But we're gonna really find out what Josh McDaniels is all about, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna see. I want to see. I mean, I would love to see how creative he gets with Cam Newton. I just don't think we're going to be able to. Guys, where are you on whether or not we're going to have an NFL season?
Absolutely not.
No way.
I don't think it's happening.
We're in training camp right now where there's like over 100 people in each camp.
Yeah, there's no chance.
There's no way.
There's no chance it happens.
Yeah, there's already been a couple positive tests. I think you're finally where I was a couple weeks ago, where I don't think there's going to be a season, unfortunately. Maybe they'll wait and play like a 10-week thing in maybe January or February, but they're not starting on time. No way. No way.
At least
these outdoor sports in general, it's impossible.
At least basketball went off with a bang, or started with a good note. On a good note, whatever the expression is.
Both basketball and hockey, the bubble, knock on wood, actually works. It's been doing its job. I think
it's keeping them inside of it is the problem. Like you've seen, like the NBA players, some of them have gotten out or have had to leave.
Yeah. Did you see the NHL is letting the guys use the Raptors practice facility to play basketball?
Are they really?
Yeah, it's cool. It's part of the bubble. It's the NHL setup. The NHL handled this so well. They did such a good job. Like the NHL is the blueprint for every other league right now to look at. It's unbelievable.
They have golf courses too, right? They can play.
I don't know, but I know they have restaurants and stuff for them to go to. They did a good job. They might, honestly. I don't know for sure, but the NHL did a great job with all this.
Hockey's the one sport I really think is going to end out fully.
Oh yeah, I think the NBA is going to be able to do it too if they can just keep the bubble from popping.
Yeah,
they had a false positive test, I think today, but It's been good. It's been good so far, knock on wood. I'm hoping basketball and hockey stay. It'll be nice to have those sports back before there's another lull in the winter when inevitably there's no football. We're gonna do it. We'll do a quick college update too. The SEC finally went conference only. 10-game SEC schedule. They're gonna start September 26th. The SEC championship game will be December 19th. The ACC got their schedule format starting September 7th that week. They're gonna play 11 games with one non-conference game, but that non-conference game has to be from the ACC team's home state. So in Syracuse's case, they probably have to play either Buffalo or Army. Notre Dame, Andy and mine's favorite team, joins the conference for the 2020 season. They can win the ACC championship. Standings are going to be determined on conference win percentage, no divisions. But the one good thing is they're going to share the TV revenue, and I think Notre Dame will bring in a ton, and that's good for the conference. I don't want to get into the Notre Dame thing because I'll rant on it for a while. I think it kind of. I'm not really a fan on how that the ACC actually went along with Notre Dame, but it is what it is.
I mean, at least we have the clarification that Notre Dame, who plays an ACC schedule but isn't a part of the ACC, is actually a part of the ACC.
Yeah, and gets to win a conference championship, if possibly. So we're gonna look. We'll just looking at Syracuse's schedule just as an example. At home, we play BC, Duke, Georgia Tech, NC State, and Wake. Then on the road, we have to go to Clemson, go to Louisville, go to North Carolina, go to South Bend to play Notre Dame, and go to play Pitt. So it'll be stuff like it's all, and then all the non-conference games are also TBD. And then we've also had the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference and the NEC cancel fall sports, and then we have possibly clarity on what's going to happen with the rest of fall sports. The NCAA Board of Governors meeting is on August 4th, where they could possibly cancel all the fall championships. If they do, though, FBS football would be on its own because they're governed by the college football playoff and not the NCAA. Guys, should the NCAA just cancel fall championships?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's just. This is honestly a lot more at stake.
It's kids.
It's kids.
It's kids who aren't in a bubble, who are in class with honestly, you don't know where the other kids are coming in contact with. I don't think, as much as it's going to suck, I don't think we're going to see any football of any kind.
No.
I think the conference only schedules are kind of delaying the inevitable, I think, but I don't know. It's sad.
It's so sad. It's just so much money in football for them to give it up.
Oh, speaking of the Big 12 has set up a grand rule of nothing on conference on anything. I think their schedules are on right now. Like, what are they doing?
No one wants to watch a Big 12 schedule.
Oh, but no, they have their full schedule on, like Texas Tech, those guys. Like, what are they waiting for?
They're just lost. It's the Big 12. They've always been lost.
I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. I can't see it. So
What, in a month? Nah.
I don't know. I'm trying to be positive, but
I've been saying this in February.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's sad, but I think we're gonna have another gap once the NHL and the NBA end, because like even when their season's in the bubble, what are they gonna do next year? They're gonna need a bubble for the entire season when it starts in December. Like I just can't anymore. Well, let's end it on a little bit more of a happy, positive note. The NFL Top 100 list came out, and the top five we'll start with the top five is Michael Thomas at 5, Patrick Mahomes at number 4, Aaron Donald at 3, Russell Wilson at 2, Lamar Jackson at number 1. Guys, thoughts on the top 5?
Good thing Darren wasn't here.
Patrick Mahomes, number 1.
I know Lamar won the MVP, but Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football, and he should not be behind. Number 1, Russell Wilson. I love Russell Wilson. He's not better than Patrick Mahomes. He should not be number 2.
I honestly love Russell at 2. It's just everything that he's done to keep Seattle in games. It's
Yeah, it's just. I also think Drew Brees should be in the top 10. I think he's
He also
always very
missed a couple games.
If it wasn't for that 4 weeks, then yeah, he'd be in there.
I don't think Brady should be 14, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we could talk. I didn't have time to go look at the Brady's full.
The only thing I think that should have been changed in the top 5 was
In all fairness, we did say top 5.
I think McCaffrey should be 5th over Thomas because McCaffrey was 6th, and then Mahomes should be switched with.
Well, I agree with that because I think
Mahomes
McCaffrey
should be
won the
switched
MVP last year
with Russell Wilson. I think Lamar at number 1 is fine. I think with what Lamar's working with Baltimore is a hell of a lot harder than what what's his name's working with in Kansas City.
Well, that doesn't matter. Mahomes is still the best player.
100% matters.
We have an MVP in a Super Bowl championship in 2 years as a starter.
But Mahomes has Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, a good old line, and who's the other really fast receiver that I'm drawing a blank on? Who's like the second fastest in the league behind Hill? Wow.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes debatably made Tyreek Hill.
That's debatable, like you said. Lamar Jackson has Mark Andrews, and that's it. Oh, and Mahomes has Travis Kelce.
What about Brown?
Hollywood Brown really did not finish that well.
What about Mark Ingram?
Yeah, but for receiver-wise, it's whatever. Lamar number 1.
No, I vehemently disagree. I think McCaffrey should have won the MVP last year.
I agree with that.
But yeah, I would agree with you, Andy, that Mahomes should be number 1, and I agree with you, Shrimp, that McCaff should at least be in the top 5 over Thomas, if not higher. On that note, that was a good podcast, guys. Really good job. We started out on a positive. We talked, but then we had to get into the nitty gritty, crappy stuff, unfortunately. But good podcast, really flowed.
Thanks for including hockey, so I didn't have to talk throughout the half of it.
You're
That's
welcome.
My favorite part.
There'll be much more hockey as the next couple weeks go on, Shrimp. So you'll be able to keep your mouth shut a lot more. Oh man, Shrimp, Andy, anything before we end it?
No.
I think I'm all set.
All right. Next week we'll probably talk first round. We'll qualify winning the NHL playoffs. We'll talk a little NBA, which I realized we didn't talk about today. That starts right now. That's fun. And then we'll talk about probably some baseball. Hopefully we'll still have baseball, but who knows? Don't forget to follow us at Shrimp Sports Pod on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and Facebook at the Shrimp Cocktail Sports Podcast. For Shrimp and Andy, I'm Jake. Thanks for listening, and I hope Melo wins a championship. Go Blazers.
Bye. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Goodbye.